Hi there, my name is Miss Townsend and I love math. Welcome to Math with Townsend. This video is for grade 10 students working on the year-end summative. It's question 16, which is from the trigonometry section. And because we accidentally labeled two questions as number 16, it's this question, the one with the diagram of the cottages and the lake.
Question 16. Two cottages are across the lake from each other, as shown in the diagram. What is the distance between the two cottages? Round your answer to the nearest tenth of a kilometer. So I've got, this is cottage 2, this is cottage number 1, and I guess this is the lake, like this. So I need to know what this distance is. And so we've got some sort of triangulation system. So let's see how are we going to do this math. Well, we obviously can't use the standard trig relationships, sine, cosine, and tangent, because I don't have a 90-degree angle. And if you don't have a 90-degree angle, you don't have an hypotenuse, etc., etc., etc. So therefore, I'm either going to use the sine law or the cosine law. So as a general rule, you use the sine law if you can, and if nothing else works, then you use the cosine law. So let's see if I can use the sine law. I have this side, but I don't know the opposite angle. This side, but I don't know the opposite angle. I have this angle, but I don't know the opposite side. So that means I can't use the sine law. And that means my only choice is to use the cosine law. Okay, so in order to use the cosine law, first of all, I need to label my diagram. So let's just label it ABC. And that makes this little a, it makes this little b, and it makes this little c. So there's me labeling my diagram. Now the side that I want to know is A, and that's opposite the angle that I know. So therefore, here's the cosine law as it applies in this diagram. So I'm looking for little a. So therefore, I'm going to use a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine a. So again, make sure you understand how the cosine law has to be set up. You must have this side correspond with this angle. And the other two variables are the other two sides. Okay, so now that we know that, let's do substitutions and get some of this math done. So b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine a. Okay, so what are my values? B is 1.8. C is 1.7. And angle A is 42 degrees. So make sure your calculator is in degree mode and do the math. So 1.8 squared, 1.7 squared. Oops, sorry, I got that backwards. Oops, 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 oops. Try that again. 1.8 squared is 3.24. 1.7 squared is 2.89. Now I like to multiply these three things together at this stage. So that gives me 6.12. And then do cosine 42 in my calculator and get 0.7431. Okay, so now I'm going to do this addition, and that gives me 6.13. And do this multiplication. Those numbers multiply to 4.5480. And then finally do subtraction. I get 1.582. And that's a squared, so taking the square root, I get a value for a. Oops, sorry, I took the square root. So that never happened. And I get a value for a of 1.26. And it said to the nearest tenth of a kilometer. So I would say, therefore, the distance between cottage 1 and cottage 2 is 1.3 kilometers. And when I look at my diagram, that certainly seems like a reasonable answer. That's it. So this was just a simple use the cosine law. Make sure you do your math, know your calculator question, and I hope that helped. Okay, see you at school.